students, welcome to our online lecture for today. We are going to discuss what are pronouns, so let's get started. Before we begin in defining pronouns, we need to first recall what a noun is. And a noun is a person, place, or thing. Pronouns, on the other hand, are words that replace nouns or noun phrases. There are several types of pronouns, and here's this whole list here. Don't worry if you're stressed. We're not going to focus on all of them. Those are for later lectures. But for today, we're going to look at personal pronouns. Personal pronouns can be further categorized into subjective, objective, possessive, and reflexive pronouns. For the purposes of today's lecture, we're going to look at subject pronouns and see how these work in a sentence. The subject is the main noun doing the action in a sentence. So subject pronouns essentially replace subject nouns. Subject nouns, in other words, are the words that are doing the action or doing the verb. So in first person, singular, we have I. Plural, we have we for subject pronouns. Second person, it's you. Those are interchangeable for whether it's singular or plural. And in third person, for masculine, we use he. Feminine is she. And it for things or objects in the singular form. For plural forms, so whether it's masculine or feminine, we use they as a subject pronoun. Putting these into practice, let's kind of warm up and see how subject pronouns work. In this paragraph, we have the nouns that are highlighted in green. The airline pilot and the passengers had been on the plane for 8 hours. The airline pilot was flying in the dark. The airline pilot and the passengers all wanted to go home. Even reading that, it sounds pretty repetitive. So we use pronouns, subject pronouns specifically, to make it sound less repetitious. Take a look. The airline pilots and the passengers had been on the plane for 8 hours. He was flying in the dark. They all wanted to go home. He is a subject pronoun that replaces airline pilot, and they is a subject pronoun that replaces both the airline pilot and passengers for plural. As you can see here, why do we use pronouns? First reason is to avoid repetition. That was a mouthful to say in the original paragraph, and when we revised it, it was much clearer. So another reason is to make sentences clearer. And third, we use pronouns frequently in conversation and writing, so it's best to familiarize ourselves with these forms so that we're able to use it when we're speaking and when we're writing. Let's work with some sample sentences. In the first sentence, we have Mary and Wendy bought the airline tickets. Mary and Wendy refers to more than one person in third person, so the correct subject pronoun is they. They bought the airline tickets. Second sentence, the luggage weighs 20 pounds. The luggage is an object, so in this case, there isn't any gender attached to the subject noun. The correct subject pronoun is it. It weighs 20 pounds. Third sentence, you and I are seated next to each other on the plane. Now there's more than one person here written in first person, so your correct subject pronoun is we. We are seated next to each other on the plane. How about this sentence? We make common errors with subject pronouns in these instances when we see a sentence like this. If the pilot gets tired, the pilot switches roles with the co-pilot. We have the same subject noun written in this complex sentence. How about this solution? If the pilot gets tired, they switch roles with the co-pilot. Let's take a look at the second one. If he or she gets tired, he or she switches roles with the co-pilot. Are these correct solutions? The answer is no. In the first case, we aren't referring to more than one pilot, so they does not work here. In the second instance, we aren't sure what the pronoun refers to, so you need to correct it in the following way. If the pilot gets tired, he or she switches roles with the co-pilot. Because we aren't sure of the gender, we put he or she as the subject pronoun. Now here's your task for today. You are going to write the subject pronouns that replace the subject nouns in these sentences. For number 1, the airline tickets cost $800. Number 2, if a traveler wants cheap tickets, the traveler must purchase them from an agency. Number 3, the stewardess is serving peanuts to the passengers. Number 4, I need a window seat. Number 5, you and I forgot our passports. Write the subject pronouns that replace the subject nouns in bold. So take the time to pause this video and then return after to check your answers. Now that you have completed your sentences, these are the correct answers. They cost $800. If a traveler wants cheap tickets, he or she must purchase them from an agency. Number 3, she, referring to the stewardess, is serving peanuts to the passengers. Number 4, I need a window seat, so that one stays the same. Number 5, we forgot our passports. Excellent job completing these questions. If you got them all correct, prepare for the next day's lesson by reviewing all your notes that you've taken from this video. Thanks for listening, guys.